first off, I just want to quickly say, please don't cover any of the snorts. They're beautiful. We all want to hear you snort laughing. I think I might have run it out, right? Yeah. Please do not suppress any of those. I'm going to be honest with you. We are going to amplify the out of them in post. That might be the title of the video on YouTube. Snorting Lady Destroys Comedy Show. No. It's been a difficult week at home. So just to kind of catch you up is that we've got this. So there's a little toddler in our home who is, it's fine, he's ours. But he's had a difficult time this week because our little guy, he got his most recent round of shots a couple days ago, and so he just got his vaccines, and so it's been a little bit. It hasn't been easy. Nobody's been sleeping very much at our house over these last couple days, mostly because I've been protesting, and I've just been parked next to his crib, just think for yourself, baby. Research! We're putting this up on the internet, so first joke had to be about vaccines for the algorithm, and we wanted to do it in a way where it's like not totally clear where I stand on the issue until later on in the set when I reveal that I have whooping cough. We have two babies at home. Not babies. I mean, they're always your babies. But our daughter is 11 years old. There's quite an age gap between our kids. I always put it this way to people: in the same month that we celebrated our daughter's 10th birthday, we celebrated our son's first birthday. Which is kind of, people always, the same question comes up in people's mind whenever I say that. So let's just get it out of the way. Yes. I just used the same one candle from her 10 cake. Not buying a whole new candle for a 45-second song. But it's quite a span. It's when you tell people, there's a 9-year gap between the kids. People feel like they have to ask about it. They feel like they have to comment about it. This is a 100% true story. I ran into my grade 8 math teacher, and I had both kids with me, and she said, "Oh, was this a surprise?" Which is especially galling coming from her, because she knows how long I've struggled with multiplying. But I find some people were literally angry about that joke. I only bring it up because she was I would say, at the more polite end of the spectrum. People, they get incredibly tacky. I get this a lot. Like, I get people, I say, 9 years between the two kids. People go, "Oh, was that a little whoopsie? Oh, was that a little whoopsie? Did you mistakenly come in your wife?" That's the subtext. It's an awful thing to say, right? It's very tacky, it's invasive, and it's also and I think you can tell, I'm not an uptight guy, but it's an existentially obliterating thing to say about our baby son, because the implication is that he's somehow less of a participant in our family. Like, his level of belonging is somehow a less of a, so I've started pushing back a little bit. People say, "Oh, is that a little whoopsie?" And I said, "Listen, I know that's not coming from a bad place, but it's important for me that both of our children were accidents. And we just had a good run, that's all." The kids are at very different places developmentally. which is healthy. It's not like, come on, man, pick up the fucking pace, buddy. She's doing fucking rings around you. My son is he's starting to now put phrases together. It's very sweet. Although any parent here will tell you that can also be jarring, because those are your first reports about how you're doing as a parent, is, when this kid starts giving back to you this happened 2 or 3 nights ago. And I mean that, and you'll see, because you'll be like, yeah, I believe him, because that joke was not quite ready. But 2 or 3 nights ago, I turned on the TV, and my son is sitting next to me. I turn on the TV. It was a hockey game. I turn on the TV. It was the Vancouver Canucks, and they were playing another hockey team. And I turn it on, and I turn on the TV, and instantly my son sees hockey game on the TV. I turn on and he sees them. The moment I turn it on, he sees hockey players on the television screen. My 2-year-old son, instantly, I turn on the hockey game. He says, "Oh no, shit." And so immediately I thought, well, first of all, this kid is ready for the Vancouver Canucks. But at a darker level, you're like, oh no, this is, because if for those of you who are not parents, that's what we call learned behavior. That's, the reason he's saying that is because he sees a familiar situation. He knows that this loved authority figure has responded this way to this situation. Like, that's what he's doing, because he's seen me watch hockey on the TV and go, oh no, shit. So he thinks that's what you do. You're in that situation, you see that's what you say, because that's all he has to go on. It's like, when my parent has been in this situation, what have they said? Like a couple nights ago, I took my wife in my arms, in an embrace. I kissed her on the mouth, and the baby, he goes, you gotta get out of here. My husband will be home any minute. Our children are of mixed European and East Asian ancestry, so sorry if you're not ready for that, Vancouver. You thought you were just coming to a comedy show. You didn't realize you were gonna have your minds blown by a modern-day Sidney Poitier. My in-laws were both, they were born and raised in Hong Kong. My dad's from Quebec, and life hasn't always been easy for the children of mixed, culturally, like, it hasn't always been easy in human history to come from more than one culture. That's sometimes a tough, and I would say, if you were gonna pick a time and place in history, Vancouver, 2025, pretty close to the top of the list for when you would wanna raise a mixed child. It's a pretty good time, Like, we've got this beautiful, biracial girl who goes to this, incredibly diverse school. She's almost completely innocent of so many of the prejudices that were just kind of in the air when I was growing up. It's almost, if I can be honest, it's almost irritating. Like, she's so innocent that it's like you can't even communicate certain. Like my mother-in-law was over at the house not long ago, and she's telling me a story while my daughter's out of the room. And the story is about how her mother was the table tennis champion of her school and represented the whole neighborhood at a Hong Kong-wide ping pong tournament. Incredible. My daughter comes back into the room. I said, sweetie, you gotta ask Popo about this story. She was, Popo in Cantonese means maternal grandmother. So I said, you gotta talk to, because in hip hop, it's the police. But obviously that's not the usage. I said, sweetheart, you gotta talk to Popo about this story she was just telling me. I said, honey, your great grandmother was a ping pong champion. And she looked at me for a second. And then she pointed at me and she said, your grandma? And I said, oh, honey. I said, honey, I love how open-minded you are. And I love that for you, a person's background doesn't determine what they're capable of. But could we just have just a common sense level, just a common sense level of racial profiling in the house? Nothing awful, just enough so that if I tell you your great-grandmother was a ping-pong champion, you just go ahead and assume I'm talking about the Chinese one. And not the one who grew up in a convent in Quebec. Okay, girls, after confession, it's back to ping pong. I say that, and yet she's the one who's right? Like Canadians, we love to flatter ourselves with this idea that this is where everyone meets. Like this is where the cultures come together, and everywhere else is just a bunch of idiots. Nobody's doing anything. Nobody does anything cool till they get here. And of course, people are meeting other cultures and interacting everywhere. Like that's what happens everywhere, right? And so, we like to, my wife and I flatter ourselves that, our love is the first time that these cultures have ever touched. And it's not even true. That's not even true at the level of our family stories, right? Like, so my mother-in-law grew up in Hong Kong when it was it was a British colony. And the school she went to for like the European part of her education, she just told me this. So the school she went to like learn English and stuff, that school was run by a group of nuns from Quebec. Is that not mind-blowing? When she told me that, I said, Mom, do you realize the level of like cosmic coincidence and that you as a girl would have like this foretaste of this exotic, tiny little culture from the other side of the planet that your own future unborn daughter was gonna one day marry into? That's mind-melting. That was the first thought I had. My second thought was, what were French-Canadian nuns doing teaching English to anyone? Whose idea was that? Just some British official guy, this all seems to be in order, very good. Sister Mary Etienne, is it? Yeah, it says here, you yourself learned English at something called École Sacré-Cœur, is that correct? That was my first thought. That was my second thought. My third thought was just this overwhelming feeling of just crushing disappointment that I had missed the historical window where I could have met any of these adorable children from Hong Kong who had learned English from Quebecois nuns. Because that would have been amazing. So you just have to, now, you just have to imagine it. But you really have to picture it. It's 1960, okay? You're in Hong Kong. You meet a beautiful little Chinese girl. It's my future mother-in-law, and she's beaming because she just found out you speak English. And she goes, hey, you speak English? I speak English too! That's right, Sister Marie-Claude taught me everything she learned about English. Growing up in Chicoutimi. Bon ben, welcome to Hong Kong. C'est bon voyage, bon retour. Bon appétit. I hope you enjoyed the food. Listen, if you like dim sum, please remember we have dim sum en tabarnak, okay? There are a lot of beautiful accents in my family. I'm very lucky that way. My dad is from Quebec, and he married a man from rural Nova Scotia. So I don't even understand how they don't have a show on CBC. It's pre-pitched. It's like, if you knew any kind of like lingering sort of conservative opponents of gay marriage or whatever, send them over to their place. And they'll go, oh, no, this is adorable. It's just, if you hung out in my dad and stepdad's condo for the afternoon, you realize it's literally just them going, it's my dad going, okay, babe, I don't know, what do you think? We'll get started on something for dinner, or are you hungry? What do you say? My stepdad goes, well, I don't know. I was over at Dips for tea, and we had oat cakes, and I don't know if I feel like having a big supper. My dad goes, okay, well, then, maybe I just get into the car, I go down to Sobe, and I pick up Omar. My stepdad goes, Omar? Who's Omar? Okay, well, I'm really glad that worked. That's a risky joke because demographically, for that joke to work, I need to be in a city where, one, there have to be enough French speakers in the audience to know that homard is the French word for lobster. But there also need to be enough Muslims for people to know that Omar is a common Islamic men's given name. I told that joke in Victoria, British Columbia. Sweet fuck all. I told that joke in Montreal. They were gonna elect me mayor. You should have seen it. They're standing up on their chairs. Just Frenchmen arm in arm with Lebanese. He did it! He told the perfect joke! My brother is also in a long-term same-sex relationship, and that's the last gay relative of the evening. Just in case if you're like one of those people who goes to a baseball game and keeps your own score. But that's my whole family. It was just, we lost my mom when I was quite young, and so from the time I was 10 years old, it was just me, my brother, and my dad. And they both, as it happens, it turned out to be gay. They actually, in fact, both came out to me the same year. Yeah, they both came out to me the year I turned 20 years old. So this is going back like 3-4 years now, and... No, this was the year 2000, actually. That they, some of you remember, the year 2000, kind of a Y2K, computers or turning everybody's dad gay and. A lot has changed, right? Mostly quite for the better. In, 2025, like 2025, gay dad, that's nothing. That's not like Spotify has like songs to listen to if you're gay dad. I mean, that's just where they put the Annie Lennox, but. Go down to a pride parade, like, I got a gay dad. People won't even lend you their cell phone charger. But in the year 2000, gay dad was not a huge, nobody was giving you props. If you had a gay dad, people were like, whoa, hey, gay brother, you need to sit down. Things were like, whoa, hey, man, and my friends weren't meatheads. I had cool, progressive friends. They were like, but they were like, I had just found out that everybody in my family was gay. And they were like, how are you taking that? Like, they sat down, they were like, how are you taking the news, man? Are you all right? Like, are you okay? How's that sitting with you? And I don't know, actually, to be honest, if my response was super mature or anything like that. I was basically a kid. I was 20 years old. Like I found out that both my dad and my brother were gay, and honestly, the way I responded was I just immediately stopped exploring my own sexuality. I just said, look, statistically, it's gonna be vagina, for sure. I said, listen, the chances of a family-wide vaginal shutout? I mean, mathematically, not even worth entertaining. To this day, whenever I have intercourse, I say, well, this is the burden I bear. My wife hates it, but I can't finish otherwise. We all found our loves out of province. I married a beautiful girl from Toronto, and my dad married the extra from Anne of Green Gables, and I know they're technically different provinces, but it's the same fucking province. And my brother is marrying a millwright from Calgary. Yeah. The person who laughed is the only person who knows what a millwright is. That's a bit of a, it's kind of a, like, some people when I say, a gay millwright from Calgary, they're like, are you sure? If you don't know what a millwright is, it's basically like, you want to fucking go? And so people, sometimes people say, man, I can't even picture that. Like, I have trouble even picturing, like, a gay millwright from Calgary. And I say, well, just picture a millwright from Calgary, and now stand him up on top of a little cake next to my brother. Because that's the sort of beautiful thing about human beings. If you don't mind me getting serious for a little second here, is that we cannot be reduced to any single-dimensional, flat stereotype by any one aspect of who we are. We're too beautifully complex for that, right? Like Chris, that's my future brother-in-law's name, right? Like Chris, just because Chris is gay, that doesn't mean he's not all the stupid Alberta shit, too. Like, if I had to describe him, basically I would say Chris is about 75% Pride Parade, 25% Freedom Convoy. If you were gonna build one at home. Either way, lots of outdoor jacuzzi time, lots of honking. I don't know much about my brother's partner's journey of self-discovery. I like to imagine that his kind of gay origin story was just, that one day he was just out in the morning, just hanging a set of truck nuts. And the light just hit them a certain way. You say, you guys fucking seen these things? They're fucking cherry, man. I'm gonna break the fourth wall for a second because Chris is in the front row, so I just want to give him a quick Thank you, Chris. I got a text from my brother earlier. He was like, oh, my brother was like, I'm sick, I can't come, but Chris is gonna come. And I was like, what if instead Chris was sick and you came? I feel like that will be easier for me. I'm very lucky. I have a very loving family. I have a cousin who I'm very proud of. She's a biologist. People get down on human beings, right? And there's a lot to get down on about human beings. Like, we do some pretty heinous stuff. But there's some beautiful things about humanity that you really do have to hold on to, right? Like my cousin, her whole thing is just bats. She's just learning everything she could about bats. And then just figuring out, like, how can we make the world better for bats? Like, how could the environment be safer for bats? How could this be better for bats? I'll tell you one thing, it's not fucking reciprocated. There's no bats flying around wondering, yeah, how can we make the environment better for Samantha? That's a beautiful thing about human beings. Like, I wish that we could convey to other species that we spend the kind of time we do, like, thinking about them. No raccoon has ever gone, I wonder what makes coyotes tick. There's no... Do you imagine what it would do to a whale's brain to find out that on our land-based universities, there are hundreds of people every semester learning everything they can about whales and fish, and it's not free. It's not free, and it's not for fun. Like, if you, as a human adult who will never meet a whale, if you agree to listen to someone for a lot of money talk about whales for 13 weeks, they give you a test at the end. They go, were you really listening, though? That's mind-blowing. That's an incredible... Like, next time you're feeling down about the species, buck up, you know? There's some cool stuff. And sometimes when I say this, people go, yeah, but Charlie, we're the ones messing things up for those species. So it's like yeah, your cousin's helping bats out, but the rest of us, we got cell phones, we're messing with the echolocation, with the cell towers, you know? We're screwing things up for other species. So it's only right that somebody like your cousin, tries to help them out. Yeah, fair enough. I don't deny that. We're also the only species that does that. Other species are fucking up other species. They don't mind. Lions are the #1 cause of death for antelopes. I assume. But the lions, lions are messing up antelope, but there's not a smaller group of lions who are, like, concerned. What I'm saying is you'll never see a big pride of lions, like, making their way across and then, like, a skinny, slightly more irritating lion jumps out with a clipboard. And it's like, do you have a second to talk about antelopes? It is, today is International Women's Day. So thank you all for spending it here with your favorite white male comedian. No, I don't know why. I don't want to discourage you. It was International Women's Day, and this is clearly nighttime. Yeah, but the night belongs to no. I never quite know what to do, like how to mark, like what's the best way to, because obviously there are many different ways to mark IWD, and I think anything that sort of makes women's labor visible in the world. You know, it's just so often we don't see it, or it's just so taken for granted. It's so you know, like we live in a very diverse place, which is wonderful. And one of the sort of accepted, friendly bits of ethnic competition that we allow in our city, in our country, is you're allowed to brag about your national cuisine, right? Everybody's allowed to be proud of their food. We got the best food. No, we got the best food. Really, when you're bragging about a national cuisine, what you're actually bragging about is usually the hyper-exploitation of the labor of women and girls, right? The vast majority of food preparation work done across time and space in human communities is unpaid labor by women and girls. And so if you have these ornate, elaborate, national... Let me put this a different way. If I were to say to you as a crowd, hey, what's everybody's favorite kind of food to go out? Some people are going to shout out different things. Some people go, I like Greek food. I like Mexican food. You know, I like Indian food. But none of you is going to yell out some Norse. Nobody's going to yell out one of the Bjork countries. Nobody's going to shout out, I like Scandinavia. I like food from countries where the dad stays home with the kids. Be honest, the better a country's Gini coefficient, the less interested you are in their food. And I think that's a hypocrisy worth facing in ourselves, right? That we can admire those societies and still, know that that's not what we all admire. I think the idea of an egalitarian, feminist, Scandinavian couple. They come home at the end of the day, they look at each other, they just say, they have each today made excellent contributions to the national economy. Tonight, once again, we eat the fish from the jar. Look, obviously, that's the kind of society we should be striving to build. Obviously. It's not the kind of restaurant you're looking for. Just be honest with yourself. Be honest with you. When you go out for a special night on the town, what are you looking for? You're looking for, mama, right? When you go to a restaurant, you're like, hey, mama, make it the sauce. Mama, make it the sauce like you used to make it back when Daddy tell you don't talk to your family no more. I want to reassure anybody who didn't feel comfortable with me doing that voice. It's okay. Because I'm not Italian, but as we've established, I am French Canadian, and those are lateral. Those are lateral whitenesses. You already think of Italians and French Canadians as sociologically interchangeable. You just don't even know it yet, and I can prove it. Buffy Sainte-Marie has been in the news this week, and people are pretty angry. And Buffy Sainte-Marie came from a family of Italians called originally the Santa Marias. And they changed their name to Sainte Marie. And that's not even a little part of what anybody's angry about. It has not even come up. No, I mean, French and Italian, actually, there would have been a point in history where they weren't even totally distinct languages from each other, right? Like, they're Romance languages, same sources, and there's still a lot of affection in the French language and the French culture for Italian. So the French word for vegetarian, does anybody know the French word for vegetarian? Very, very excellent. Végétarien. And I still, for instance, don't know if this person knew that or guessed it. Very straightforward. But, now, do you know the French word for vegan? No. Some people, I've heard the guess, vegan. It's not. The French word for vegan is végétalien. Végétalien. Vegetarian. And that sounds wild when you first hear it, right? But then if you think about it, that's a bit, because vegans, they really are. They're like the Italians of the vegetarian experience. You know what I mean? They're the kind of just a little extra. You know, like the regular vegetarians, they're like the kind of waspy, just kind of, I'll have a cheeseburger, hold the burger. Gotcha. Oh, no, just cheese, thanks, just cheese. Whereas the vegan's like, oh, Ma! There's bones in Jell-O! I do love Italian food. It's a big, big part of my life. I love pasta. I can't have cheese, but I like there's a cheeseless pizza on Commercial Drive called the marinara, which is just tomato sauce and capers and anchovies. And I love anchovies on a pizza. If you've never had anchovies on a pizza, what I'd like you to do is, as soon as you can, just do it. If you don't know what anchovies are a small, oily, salty fish. So it's perfect for what's going on a pizza. It's just God's pepperoni. But a lot of people are anxious about anchovies. They think they don't like them, despite having not even tried them. A lot of people, those who are my age, it's because of a kind of cultural conditioning. I was born in 1980, and so I am part of what is called in the demographic literature the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Generation. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were a huge, huge part of my young life. Oh, and if you don't know what the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are, there's nothing more I can tell you than any attempt for me to explain them would just be reshuffling those adjectives. I loved them. Right? Like I was about 7 years old when they really kind of broke through out of the underground comics world into the cartoons and toys. And so it was a major, I had bed sheets, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is a little, I told you I lost my mother at quite a young age. The last Halloween costume she ever made for me was a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was a very big, big part of my life. And so I, as you can imagine, wanted to be like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, as much as was, practical. And probably the most kind of, regular human sort of part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' lives was that they loved pizza. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were constantly ordering pizza, and they were constantly eating pizza, and they were very excited about the pizza. Cowabunga, they'd say. The pizza has arrived, but there was a big caveat. Oh, they hated anchovies. Anchovies, there better not be anchovies on this pizza. They hated, and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles did not hate many things. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they hated two things. They hated Shredder and anchovies. And the anchovy, it was a big thing. It came up a lot. And anytime somebody's bringing them a pizza, it better not have anchovies on it. Oh, anchovies. Oh, whatever the opposite of cowabunga is. Oh, we hate anchovies. It didn't even make any fucking sense. They're fucking turtles. An anchovy is quite literally the only pizza topping that they would have any kind of genetic primordial predisposition towards. But fine, they didn't fucking want anchovies. They were my heroes, and so I didn't want anchovies. So all through my childhood, the idea of anchovies on a pizza, that's a definition of gross. All through my adolescence, no way, man, I'm not trying anchovies on a pizza. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles said it was gross. All through my adulthood, never went anywhere near them. I was 40 years old before I had anchovies on a pizza pie. And it occurred to me, this must have been happening across North America. Which would have been enough to decimate multiple Southern Italian fishing communities. Who not only would have had no context whatsoever for what had happened to decimate their centuries-old way of life overnight. But in fact, the more you tried to explain it to them, the less they would understand. Like, just try to imagine that by some miracle, one old man gets out of the village, somehow figures out what's going on. How does he come back and communicate that information? What is he? Somebody, hey, Colangelo! How come nobody want to buy anchovies in the morning? Oh, Giuseppe! It's the fun because of the ninjas! Hey, Colangelo, what do you mean it's the fun because of the ninjas? See, Giuseppe, see? The ninjas! The teenage ninjas! All'America, a New York, the tartarughe, and they don't like eating anchovy on the pizza! And these are teenage ninjas. These are tartarughe, all'America, a New York. And they don't like eating anchovy on a pizza. They don't have to eat anchovy on a pizza. Everybody else is still going to eat anchovy on a pizza, no? No, Giuseppe, no. No, Giuseppe, tutti i bambini del mondo. Oh, the children of the world. They love the teenage ninjas. They love the tartarughe. They say, I'm going to be like a teenage ninja. I'm going to be like a tartarughe. They don't eat anchovy on a pizza. I'm never going to eat anchovy on a pizza no more. Hey! Colangelo! And these are teenage ninjas. These are tartarughe all'America, a New York. They hate Italy so much. Who? What is the name? It's Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, Raffaello. Thank you. Eat an anchovy, save an Italian. Thank you all so much for being here. It meant so much to have you. Happy International Women's Day. I want to thank Ivan Decker, Yumi Nagashima, 604 Records. This is very nice. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good night, everybody. I'm gonna take a sip of water now. This is not gonna be in the special, so this is, you guys are really seeing something cool right now. This is my brand. I like my bottled water like I like my childhood neighbor, Mr. Prasad. Nearby and originally from Fiji.